Winter arrives with an invitation, one that is often misunderstood. It whispers of rest, of retreat, of comfort. But what if this season of quiet is not an excuse for dormancy, but an unparalleled opportunity for transformation? What if the next 90 days were not a period to endure, but a crucible in which to forge a more disciplined, more capable version of yourself? Today, we do not challenge winter, we seek an accord with it, an agreement in which we respect its stillness, leverage its silence, and convert its cold into fuel. In this narration, we will explore how to deliberately reframe the winter season. Instead of surrendering to the natural pull towards lethargy and passive consumption, you will learn to construct a robust framework for profound self-development. This is not about resisting rest, but about elevating it into purposeful growth. By the end of our time together, you will possess a mental toolkit to turn these 90 days of cold and quiet into your most productive and disciplined period of the year, building momentum that will carry you far beyond the spring thaw. The primary challenge of winter is internal. The shorter days and colder temperatures create a powerful psychological pull toward the path of least resistance, endless scrolling, passive entertainment, and a general state of hibernation. Discipline is the force that counters this inertia. It is the conscious decision to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. To aid in this, let us borrow a concept from the world of artificial intelligence, the idea of a generative engine. Imagine you have a personal inspiration engine for your own life. It doesn't run on code, but on structured self-inquiry. You provide the prompts, and it generates the architecture for your growth. Let's begin with the first prompt. Generate a novel concept for personal development. Just as a content creator seeks a fresh idea for their audience, you must seek a fresh challenge for yourself. What is a skill that, if learned, would have a cascade effect on your life? Perhaps it is learning the fundamentals of a new language, mastering a specific piece of software, or dedicating yourself to understanding a complex subject like economics or philosophy. It could be a physical challenge, like committing to a rigorous fitness program. Or it could be a creative one, like writing a set of 1,000 words every day. Choose one significant focus for their 90-day sprint. The key here is to select a keystone habit, a single skill whose acquisition organically facilitates other good habits. Now for the second prompt. Create a detailed outline. An idea without a plan is merely a wish. Here, you will architect your success. If your goal is to read 5 significant books, your outline would not simply list the titles. It would specify which weeks you will dedicate to each book, how many pages you must read per day, and when you will schedule time for reflection and note-taking. This structured plan is your script for the coming season. It removes the ambiguity that so often leads to inaction. Have you noticed this happening in your life too? That a lack of a clear plan is often the true barrier to progress, not a lack of talent or opportunity. Divide your 90 days into 3 30-day sprints, each with its own milestone. This transforms the daunting mountain into a series of climbable hills. And finally, the most crucial prompt: analyze the subject. The subject, in this case, is you. You must become a student of your own habits, motivations, and weaknesses. This requires radical honesty. Where do you waste the most time? What are the triggers that lead to procrastination? Conversely, what are the conditions under which you are most productive and focused? Do you work best in the early morning or late at night? Does music aid your focus or distract you? Is your digital environment riddled with temptations? Understanding this internal landscape allows you to design an environment that fosters discipline rather than one that constantly tests it. This self-analysis is the foundation upon which all meaningful change is built. So, how do we make this practical? First, perform what we might call a dedication ritual. Set aside 1 uninterrupted hour on one day for this initial planning phase. Sit down with a pen and paper and consciously answer those 3 prompts. Choose your skill or project.
outline the required steps over the next 12 weeks, and write down an honest assessment of your personal habits and tendencies. This is not merely planning, it is a declaration of intent, a contract you make with your future self. Second, implement a system of non-negotiable time. Block out a specific time in your calendar each day or week that is dedicated solely to this project. It could be 30 minutes every morning or 2 hours every Saturday. Defend this time as you would any critical appointment. This practice itself is an exercise in building discipline. It communicates to your subconscious that this work takes precedence. Third, build your environmental architecture. Based on your self-analysis, redesign your physical and digital environment for success. If your phone is your greatest distraction, use apps to block notifications during your non-negotiable time. Prepare a physical workspace dedicated only to your project, even if it's just a corner of a room. Make it as easy as possible to begin your work and as difficult as possible to succumb to distractions. Fourth, keep an accountability log. A simple journal or a spreadsheet can serve as your accountability partner. Note your successes and your failures without judgment. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. Seeing the chain of completed days will become a powerful motivator in itself. At the end of each week, conduct a brief review. What worked? What did not? How can you adjust your plan for the week ahead? And fifth and finally, learn how to handle failure. There will be days when you do not adhere to the plan. This is inevitable. The mistake is not in falling, but in remaining down. Do not allow one lost day to become a lost week. Acknowledge the deviation, forgive yourself, and get back on track the very next day. The resilience to return to the plan is a truer measure of discipline than perfect adherence. We have seen that winter need not be a season of passive waiting. It can be a deliberate, structured period of intense personal growth. By using a framework of structured self-inquiry, generating your idea, outlining your plan, and analyzing yourself, you transform a potential liability into a potent asset. The discipline you cultivate over these 90 days will not vanish with the snow. It becomes a permanent part of your character. Now that you know how to reframe the season of quiet, imagine how you could use this knowledge not just this winter, but every winter to methodically and relentlessly build the life you envision for yourself.
Inspired to start your own winter forge? Don't let this motivation fade. Subscribe to Skill Drive for consistent inspiration and practical tips.